Mr. Redmond, please come up.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Hackley, for all those kind words. I had to pinch myself to really feel it, make sure you got the right guy. But yes, I love Mississippi. I grew up in Mississippi through a lot of adversity, which some of you could even contain or even think about. For instance, I lived 8 miles from school in the country. I had to walk to school. The yellow school bus passed me every morning with no blacks on it. Some of you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, we persevered. I managed to graduate from high school at age 17, and I moved to Fort Wayne, which was somewhat a disappointment. When I first arrived here, I was looking for a utopia, which wasn't here. One example was Fort Wayne used to have trolley buses. I used to ride them quite frequently. Now, one thing I noticed that was real strange to me when I first came here, I saw black people sitting next to windows on the bus and white people standing up holding a strap looking at an empty seat. I said, is this the utopia that I've been told about above the Mason-Dixon line? So I guess it is. But anyway, I stayed here for a while and I went in the military. I went to Europe. That's really where I got into photography at. I met a young man from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. He had lots of cameras and I was curious. So the rest is kind of history. I came back from the service. I went to St. Francis College and I took up photography there. Then I went to Fort Wayne Art School, and I had one photograph which was published in every newspaper, every major newspaper in the world. And the Jones Gazette took credit for it. I sold it to them, and they took credit for it. So I hired a copyright lawyer. He said, you got a good case. It drug on for a year. He called me one day. He said, hey, I can't do anything with it. So you have to read between the lines what happened there. But I didn't let that stop me. I'm still behind the lens of my camera, and as long as I can keep moving, I'll do that. Now, I shot hundreds of weddings in Fort Wayne, and a lot of other affairs in Fort Wayne. At one time, I was the only African-American in the inner city with a camera. But that's all changed, thank God, because I couldn't do it all. It's a big job. And I know lots of people in Fort Wayne, but Fort Wayne, it's been good to me, but like I said, it's somewhat of a disappointment when I first came here. Now, speaking of Mississippi, things have somewhat reversed themselves as opposed to when I first came here. Now, a lot of blacks are moving back south because conditions are better for them there than they are in the north. Because now you have the racism everywhere you go, but here it's more subtle. If you see it down south, you hit it head on. I can deal with that. When you go in stores down in Mississippi, in some of those businesses, people greet you with a smile. When you leave, they said, hey, be sure and you come back and see us again. In Fort Wayne, you can walk in one of these stores, they might speak to you, and they might not. Take your money, they might say thank you, and they might not. This don't occur in the South. At least I haven't found it. But in Fort Wayne, it's very prevalent here. And I know lots of you have ran into this same situation. In a lot of cases, you go in the store and you stand there, salespeople just walk past you. And eventually, they'll come around and ask you, do you want something? Well, surely you wouldn't go to the store if you didn't want something. So why would he ask a question like this? Now, it makes me feel like keeping my money in my pocket when I go in stores like this. That's the reason I say I love Mississippi, because I don't encounter this kind of stuff down there. People are more decent towards each other. We're in this world together. They realize this, but somehow in this city, it's polarized. But I'd like to thank Mr. Hackley for giving me this opportunity to express my opinion tonight. I could go on for a long time, but I won't, because we have a time restraint here, and I realize this. But thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Redmond.